Welcome to the 2 Wealth Show, a show that shares how you can create real wealth for you and your family. I'm one of your hosts, Justin Bogard, and my co-host is Elizabeth Sickles, aka Super E. I am a real estate note investor, specializing in performing residential real estate debt. I find the deals, acquire them for my own portfolio, as well as educate investors while walking them through the process of owning a real estate note. My co-host Super E, a real estate investor, specializing in short-term rentals and the management of them. She connects investors with short-term tenants and manages everything in between. Our show is sponsored by Brightpath Notes and Elizabeth Mayora. You can find out more information by visiting our websites at brightpathnotes.com and elizabethmayora.com. Welcome back to episode number 13. Hey, Super E, how's it going?
It is a beautiful day in Indianapolis. We got to love that.
It is. It's not scorching hot like it was a few weeks ago. I actually just got back from Charleston, so I may look a little darker today.
Excellent. Well, we like the lighter weather because it's a lot nicer on our HVAC units. So
that is true. Yeah, I came back and I noticed that I had set our thermostat to like 77. And I was like, oh, I should have turned that down with my app before I got home. It's a little warm now.
Gotta love technology.
All right. So episode 13, I just want to get right into this because I'm excited about our guest today. He is the founder and CEO of ProTitle USA. And Elizabeth, a lot of us in the real estate note industry, we kind of lean on having title searches done when we buy notes and stuff, because we want to see what is on title with the lien that we're buying. And so it's very important. So he's one of the most sought after people in our business that has got a really great program and search system all built into ProTitle. And so I'm just excited to have him on. His company is actually in the Inc. 5000 list, and it's made it in there 6 years in a row.
That's awesome.
And one year he was even in the top 700, I think. I want to say 700. I might be not speaking correctly, but anyways, Alex Goldovsky from ProTitle. I'm going to bring him on. Hey, Alex.
Hey, Justin, Elizabeth.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
How is it out there? And are you in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's not that great. It's rainy.
Let's just move on. Next question. So, Alex, when did you start ProTitle?
So I started ProTitle in the idea was born in 2007. Officially, the company was launched in 2008, and I started ProTitle for a wrong market. I always thought that, with the financial crash and crisis of 2007 and 8, services like title search would be needed for people that buy distressed assets. So what I did is I created a company, learned everything there is to know. And my idea was to stand next to the footsteps of the foreclosure house and give away the free title reports for folks that really needed them at the time of the auction. I was very wrong. Nobody needed those reports. Everybody already had those. And after that disappointment, I said, well, something has to be different. And I had an idea of doing nationwide online research to make it simple for investors to buy ahead of time for the auction. So this is how the idea was born, and that's sort of why it took off. I figured out where and what time the investors, before they buy the property at the auction, would need them. And that's sort of the start of the ProTitle USA.
So you said you just learned everything you need to know about title searches. So that had to have been a pretty daunting task, because I don't know hardly anything when it comes to title, because I'm always learning something new. So that just amazes me right there.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things where when you're an investor to real estate, and I was the investor prior to starting ProTitle, I bought university housing properties, I bought apartment complexes, and I used one firm that I really hated. They always missed stuff, and it was inaccurate. It took forever, and it got me to the point of I was so angry. I said, I will do it better. And just that push alone made me study everything there is to know about title in one jurisdiction, then next jurisdiction, then similarity in state laws, in federal laws. And slowly but surely, we started to build out the platform to approach on a nationwide level the title research for any properties, residential, commercial, vacant land, whatever you have, we can search. And we know how to do it. So at that point, it took probably 6 months in 2008 to really understand the nationwide market. So it took sleepless nights, a lot of coffee, but we got there.
Yeah, that's incredible. I know when I first got into the real estate note space, people were talking about ProTitle and using a title search. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. You can just go online and give them the property address, and then boom, they spit out a report. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. And obviously, it's more detailed than that. And they have, auxiliary type of or ancillary services that they do, besides just general title searches. But it's a very cool process, Alex. I want to say you just go online, you type in your address, and you get a report back to you within. It's typically within a few days. I mean, I know you don't guarantee that, but I find it a pretty quick process, and it's pretty thorough too.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting that the idea to sell title search online was not the original idea. But when I started the company, you can imagine me in a swimming trunks sitting at the pool of my friend's house and drinking beer. And, at the time of the idea was born, we built a website, and the, in the next 5 seconds, we'll post the website online and enable Google Ads. So the advertisement is running online. And, that was just an experiment, right? Once we clicked the button to enable the Google Ads and start rotating nationwide ads online for the business, a second later, I receive a phone call. And my friend goes, "Who is calling you?" I said, "I have no idea. It's a number that probably is from the Google Ads." So I pick up the phone, and the guy on the other line says, "Hey, I'm a big developer in Florida, and I have title searches to do. Can you do 100 in 2 days?" I'm looking at my friend. I said, "I think we found something." I couldn't take the credit cards. Everything was done for free. So, but the fact that a second later we receive a phone call with a large order, and I was just one guy experimenting on the business. So that made me think that online is really a good niche to go after, because a lot of people have different needs. Elizabeth has a need in buying the real estate properties and rentals rights. Justin buys the notes. So a lot of people have different needs, and it just you found that niche where the need can be served pretty much nationwide by one company, and that's what we attacked as the market space for our company, right? So online, and really, I guess being in the right place in the right time made me realize that I think there's something there. And I think online was the first step towards developing the company.
Can you talk about, Alex, the fact that some title companies, they're just in one state, but why you made the leap to be nationwide? So not only about that, but also not necessarily the process, but maybe some of the biggest hurdles and why you kept on pushing through those? Because that's a huge advantage that you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that's exactly the weakness of the market at the time when I started. You have large investors, large banks, like large Wall Street funds that are investing in nationwide pools of properties or notes. And they always had a pain point of hiring different companies than dealing with the paper reports, looking through PDF files or faxes, trying to consolidate the information into a single source. And there were only a few nationwide companies that were quite slow. Companies like Stewart, First American, Fidelity, usual suspects in the market that really specialize in settlement and closing services. They want to go after premium, and title search was a buy side or not very important revenue element for them. So I found out that the title search alone is really important for folks that are buying in volume nationwide and producing or trying to produce a report that will give them the view of the whole portfolio, not necessarily one property here, one property there, or I'll just generate 100 reports for you to look through and then rely on you to understand every little element of the title report on a nationwide basis. I said, well, I want to solve that problem, and I want to not only deliver a title search report, but also solve the pain point on the market where it doesn't matter where the property is in, what state, what county, what jurisdiction. I will apply the local jurisdiction laws, federal laws, state laws to give the information about what's wrong with that property or that title in nice Excel spreadsheets or over API to a large investor. That was my goal. Having a computer science, marketing, and architecture background, I have made a goal in a year or two to build a platform for large buyers, right? So guys like Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, who are using us right now, or very, very large funds that buy in billions of dollars, would be using us for processing large orders and having a single report and relying on it completely to give them a picture of what's going on a portfolio basis. So that was the pain point that was solved. Now, the issue is obviously, the starting point. It's every small business goes through the same stages. First, it's a one-man show. It's me. So I have to do everything, right? It's pure hustle. Then you hire an employee number one, and you say, oh, I just got free time. So let me market the business even more. You hire another person, and now it becomes a game of bringing more business while you're hiring more people to support it. So as of right now, we are really, 52 full-time employees. We have a center in El Salvador. We have about 1,200 people on the ground that are 1099s for us. We're using the IT development center. We have about 300 to 500 people in India that do mechanical things for us. So we're now big operation to service large banks or large hedge funds, but it all started with one man.
That's incredible growth.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you had mentioned that you have a background in kind of computer science and stuff. And I noticed, on your LinkedIn profile, I had to kind of troll you a little bit to get some more info about you. So you have a master's degree in engineering, and then you just, I guess you learned how to do, well, I'll let you talk about it because I'm probably not even explain it correctly.
Yeah, I have a master's in engineering. I have 9 patents, U.S. patents, and I worked for companies like AT&T, Bell Labs, and Intel, and other similar firms that are, Fortune 500 back in the days, big in telecom, and it all starts. Well, let me just say that it all starts with your wife. For my wife, right? So. I had a full-time job. Everything was great. I was the architect and I was the director of marketing for one of the firms, and most of my friends were entrepreneurs. So we are sitting there at the table, and one of the guys, he owns probably 7 businesses, and he's bragging a little bit. And to me, I thought that I am receiving very decent salary, and I'm happy, and And then he says, well, I'm making that much. Right off the bat, when he said the number, I had a short circuit in my brain, and I said, something's wrong here. I have my master's, I have patents, I'm well respected in telecom industry, and the guy doesn't have any education, and he's bragging about some numbers that are not reachable to me. I come home to my wife, I said, listen, something's wrong with this picture. She says, all right, let's do this. It takes 2 for the business. I will cover for the household, and I have my first child. You do whatever it takes to do the business. And while working during the day, I was developing the business and the websites and learning all kinds of things at night. I'd say I didn't sleep well for 3 to 4 months. But it all started with my wife pushing me, right? So otherwise, I'm pretty lazy. I don't want to do anything. Leave me alone, type of thing. So give me a vacation, drive me to Mexico, and I'll be happy. But she pushed me, and I'm happy she did. It always starts with probably that story. You need a supportive wife to push the man in the direction. Well, she did push me. So and then I realized, that there's something there. I already told you the story about, me sitting there and launching the sites. But I think one phone call changed it all. It was 2008, and obviously I was still trying to develop. It was very, very shaky operation. But and I was still the one answering the phones when somebody called. Mm-hmm. So I received a phone call, and they said, "Is this ProTitle?" I said, "Yeah." Well, not like this, but yeah, it's ProTitle.
Yeah.
Do you do title?
What do you want?
Yeah. Well, yes. So we do title searches. This is FDIC. I said, "Ooh, okay." Well, we have a little issue. We need all hands on deck to do massive amount of title searches because we have a lot of bank failures, and we need to underwrite the bank assets to go and run them on structured sales. So I'm listening to this, and the next question is, can you handle 2,000 commercial property title searches? What do you think I said? Yeah.
Yes.
I was 2-man show at the time, and now you're starting to figure out, how do I make it happen, right? So it's one of those things where this one call changed my thinking on, there are other institutions, other funds out there that need a high volume of property reports. And so that was 2008. We delivered everything on time within the cost structure that they asked for. And as of right now, there's only one company servicing FDIC as a subcontractor. That's us. So
wow.
Before it was 12 to start with, and now it's only 1. So we did everything possible to make sure that, we always exceed clients' expectations, especially when we get business. Without having connections in the industry, without knowing the right people, without having a pull through from relatives, or without taking clients to the golf outings, as soon as we get the client, we make sure that at least performance-wise and customer support should maintain the client. We typically don't lose any clients outside of clients filing bankruptcies, which we had, clients not paying, or other stories like this. We typically maintain the clients and keeping them happy.
What I like about this is that, you talk about how these really large companies that you're able to facilitate their requests and run their title searches. But for the person that's like what's called a one-off investor like myself, you easily cater to that as well with the online system. So it works beautifully hand in hand with, no matter how large you are, or how small you are, it's, everybody wins.
Absolutely. For us, it doesn't matter if you're a huge fund or a person that orders one report a month or a year. It still goes through the same process. In fact, folks that are ordering a small number of searches, they get the priority because we set up the time schedule for delivery of the large projects, and folks that are ordering 1 or 2 a month, they get priority. We want to make sure that they're happy. We have typically estimated time frame of about 48 to 72 hours to deliver the report. But so we try to standardize at least in 90% of the United States to get to that time frame. Now, some people think that we'll work over the weekends. Not anymore. So if you order on Friday, it'll be done Monday, Tuesday. And some folks, yeah, we need some rest. And some folks really give us a hard time. Hey, I ordered the report on Friday. Where's the report on Sunday? It's we try to explain to folks, but still there's a few that will demand things on the weekend and be angry on Monday.
Right.
The typical time is 48 to 72. Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can satisfy those people. They're just, they have it in their mind that everyone's working 24/7. So.
Yeah, and some people do. We don't. It just when you start growing as a firm, you can't be a small business anymore, and you have to make sure people rest. And even though we have folks on the rotation of monitoring things over the weekend, but it's right now we have a 24-hour operation.
Nice.
And Alex, which is great. And can you talk about some of the hurdles that you see in the industry right now and what you guys are doing as a title company to overcome those?
Yeah, there's actually right now is a number of hurdles. And let me take a step back and give you a flavor of what we see. I get to see in a place where we see a lot of trade volume coming across us. And coming across our desks, I can tell you that in the past 2 weeks, we've already looked at probably $4 to $6 billion worth of assets in the past 2 weeks alone. Yeah. So I can tell you that on the market, a lot of large banks like Bayview, Goldman Sachs, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, JP Morgan and Chase are selling both reperforming assets and non-performing assets to the market. Folks that are waiting for a flood of trades to come through, it's coming. It's really a tsunami wave that will cover the whole market. The reason is I think some of the larger servicers are not able to process that many default servicing for folks or homeowners that are coming off the forbearance into delinquency. And they're trying to position themselves for something that they can handle easily and really liquidate to the capital markets some of the things that are excess. We've seen the trades being very, very large. In fact, 1,000 to 2,000 loans per each entity I just named to the secondary market is a significant loan sales, and they seem to continue. Right? We see that the next scheduled sale will be, for example, 12,000 loans in the first week of next month, and that's all reperforming. Right? So you can see that there's a big floodgate of loans and properties that probably get to Justin's desk, I'd say, in the next 6 months. The reason for that is not just the capacity of the market for the vendors, right? So every vendor right now operating 120, 150% capacity, right? So there's no free capacity left in the market, not just because of the number of loans, but because of COVID in India, right? So a lot of the big banks, they offshore a lot of their stuff, and with COVID and restrictions in India, a lot of companies are suffering. So that really created a not a great vendor marketplace for processing large orders. At the same time, at the end of the year, you can probably see that a lot of firms are foreclosure firms, attorneys, hiring paralegals to start processing the foreclosure cases again. So apparently, banks can start foreclosure in the 1st of January, and you will probably find a flood of foreclosures being filed and running through the courts. So you have the bottleneck in the courts, but at the same time, lenders are trying all kinds of ways to go outside of the court system to do a mod with the borrower or to reset the loan in the capital market to make sure that they're not impacted, or velocity of investment is not impacted by delays in courts. So there's a lot of momentum going on. And I think, to answer your question, Elizabeth, the biggest problem on the market right now is capacity of vendors. Everybody's super extended work, weekends, overtime to meet the timelines, and it's still not enough. Some of the firms that, for example, do compliance reviews for the loans might be a month to month and a half behind. A lot of small vendors or small clients, small banks were cut off by some of the larger compliance vendors because of the capacity issues. Some of the title vendors, like myself, also are struggling to meet the timelines of trades or timelines of delivery to the clients on refinance and closing. So a lot of that is going on, and I think that's the current problem in the market. There's other problems there as well, right? I think with the interest rate picking up, so you will probably see some momentum in, again, more sales coming to the market with respect to some of the delinquent notes, because the interest rates going up and borrowers are not willing to pay the higher interest rate. They were not able to refinance, and therefore, because of the bad credit score or just being behind for so many payments. So certainly you'll see the flood of those coming to the market as well. So that's pretty much the overview of some of the issues of the market today, and what we are doing to solve them. Certainly we are hiring like crazy. That's another issue right now, right? Nobody's willing to come back to work. We see it every day. We hired only one person in the past 6 months. We were running ads 6 months in a row, and it just, folks are not willing to come back to work yet. So that's still a big issue.
Wow, Alex, that was some great insight as to what's going on kind of behind the curtain. Thank you so much for sharing that information. A lot of your points I didn't even take into consideration before when I was thinking about what's going to happen, with the forbearances and stuff. So thanks for alluding to that from what you see in your side of things.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's really a very dynamic market. You have to keep your eyes on the ball. I think I'm hoping for my clients, attorneys in foreclosure firms. Federal government will no longer extend the timelines as they did for about 6 months. Because those firms are really suffering. They laid everybody off, just kept the partner attorneys, and they don't have paralegals or enough staff to go ahead and process what's coming. So that's a separate issue.
Wow. That's very interesting. So just for our listeners and our viewing audience on our YouTube channels, Brightpath Notes, Elizabeth Mayora, Alex's website is ProTitleUSA.com. That's ProTitleUSA.com. So you can visit there. There's no real login, I believe, Alex, right? You just kind of go in there. You can search exactly what you want. If you want, if you're looking for a note for notes or properties, you can enter in stuff easily for residential or commercial, and you generate a report within a few days, like you said, 48 to 72 hours. So the process is very, very easy.
Yeah, exactly. It's you can enter the report. There's some auxiliary services that you can order as well. If you have a volume of orders, send us a spreadsheet. We'll place it for you. If you don't have to place one thing at a time, and then if you have more than 20 properties or 20 notes, we can generate something called a dashboard, which will analyze the whole portfolio for you, which is very convenient.
Yeah, we've done it both ways. Just keying in one property at a time or doing a group of them in a spreadsheet, and the process is the same speed and the same quality of service. So thanks for all the hard work you've done building your company up. Everyone, obviously, that I know of pretty much uses ProTitle for their title searches in the note space specifically that I'm in.
Yeah, we have many clients and would like to grow to more and more clients and keep them happy.
So Elizabeth, Alex has also written a book, and it's called Bulletproof Title Due Diligence. And you can find this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, I think this is on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon?
Yeah, that's the book. It's Amazon. The purpose of that book was really to educate beginner investor on what things can hurt you. Don't get scared of the book. Read it. Understand all the liens and issues that might make you lose money. So we wanted to make sure that everybody who is playing in real estate investment business or note investment business reads the book, so you're more educated about reading the title reports. Yeah,
I've gotten your reports before, but I've missed a few things that I should have paid attention to before early in my note investing days, and I paid for it. So it's very important that you understand the report that is given to you and actually read through it and make sure you ask questions that could be potentially a problem, because when you buy an asset like that, especially a note, it's very important to read through that title report to see what you got.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about you have, is it 10 U.S. patents?
I think it's 9.
9 or 10?
But, most of them are related to telecom.
Oh, okay. So this was before you started ProTitle.
Exactly.
Okay. That's pretty cool. We'll have to have a conversation with that offline about what that's like, patents. I was always interested in how that works. So Elizabeth, did you have any final thoughts for today?
I am just...
Sorry.
Good. I just want to say, Alex, thank you so much for, obviously, you're a very successful business owner and scaling like that, and especially your insight for what's coming, because that will help a lot of our listeners plan accordingly to make their real estate goals.
Yeah, and thank you guys for inviting me. I had a lot of fun. And for anybody who wants to reach out to me, go ahead and email me. I think once you go to the website, you'll find an email link there, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions.
And that's ProTitleUSA.com. All right, Alex, do you have any final thoughts about due diligence or title that you want to share with our listener here before we close out today?
Yeah, I think you must have the title search when you invest, right? Don't make a mistake of buying something without running a title search. This is why I made this company. This is why I wanted to make sure that everybody's protected. I've seen many people make mistakes, me included. When I was buying the real estate without the title search, I paid for it. Mm-hmm. It was not cheap. It was $20,000 losses. I don't do it again. So For the title search, which is on average, I don't know, $85 plus or minus, it might be cheaper if you're in Florida or Georgia, or more expensive if you're in Mississippi and other rural spots of U.S. But it's worth it to get it. So that's kind of, keep that thought in mind. If you don't buy the property because of the title search, we just saved you a lot of money.
Absolutely. Alex, again, thank you so much for being on our show and educating our listeners today. We greatly appreciate that. And I'm Justin Bogard with Brightpath Notes, and this is episode number 13.
And I'm Elizabeth with Elizabeth Mayora.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Two Wealth Show is produced by Justin Bogard and Super E, sponsored by Brightpath Notes and Elizabeth Mayora. Thanks for listening and watching for our show.